Hair loss as a side effect of PEDs, our experience, and solutions that we've found for it. So I'll talk about my experience first, because Trevor and I have two opposite different experiences, which is important to demonstrate that we all have different predispositions to certain side effects. Some people might take PEDs and get no side effects, and some people might get all the side effects, and there's everywhere in between. Look at my hair. I have not lost any hair from performance-enhancing drugs. I've lost hair from Asian massages. Last night the girls are massaging my head, ripping my hair out of my head. And I have lost hair from baby mama stress and from being a lawyer. Those are my three losses of hair causes. I've done 6 years of PED use, or what some people would even call abuse. All kinds of dosages of all kinds of different compounds, and I still have all my hair. Now, another extreme example is Coach Trevor. Coach Trevor has no hair. Coach Trevor doesn't even take steroids. He does TRT. He does short experiences of experiments of things like SARMs and stuff like that. But his hair loss was caused by his heavy gear usage a long time ago when he built his muscle. No?
No, I got married, and it happened.
It
happened in 6 months of being married. So
it was also not PEDs, but
no,
do you think PEDs contributed to it?
6 months of being married and that stress from that bullshit, that relationship, it happened in 6 months. It was the fastest hair loss I've ever seen in my life.
So isn't that interesting? Both Trevor and I never experienced hair loss.
It could have been, but I'm going to tell you right now, in 6 months I lost all my hair in the worst time of my life.
Now, I remember talking, the most extreme example of anybody I talked to is this Indian guy who said he lost all his hair in 3 weeks on, it was a pretty harsh stack, included Winstrol and some other gear. So it's his first steroid cycle, and he blasts everything, and he loses all his hair in 3 weeks. But guess what? I talked to him about 6 months later, and he had all his hair back, 100%. No permanent hair loss. It was 100% temporary, probably because he didn't continue with it. I think if he would have continued with it, the longer you have a side effect and you just keep abusing it, then it's more likely to become a permanent problem. So I wouldn't worry about, like, if someone's competing for a competition and they have hair loss for the last 3 weeks of their Winstrol usage, I don't think they're gonna have permanent hair loss from that.
Yeah, you get some, and then again, it's when the androgens are going to your scalp. The whole purpose of taking like finasteride or these compounds is to block DHT from going to the scalp, the androgens from going to the scalp. There's a bunch of different medications you take for that. So yes, they'll go to the scalp because you're taking an excess of it. You're genetically inclined for this, and so it's as temporary as it is permanent. If you're genetically dispositioned to be bald and look like George Costanza, it's going to happen. It's going to speed that process up, and then you're going to be there at an earlier age. If you're not, you might get hair loss, but when you come off, the hair typically comes back. I've seen a couple guys do it for 5, 6, 7 years straight, and they come back and then their hair's thinned out big time, but they weren't genetically dispositioned or anything, and they still keep their hair.
I've put down 4 different things to look to troubleshoot or address all 4 of these if you want to holistically prevent hair loss or cause hair growth. Number 1 is to cleanse the scalp. I think people, you wash your hair or whatever, but you're not really exfoliating it. I think if you were to use some kind of shampoo that had silica in it or something, or where you can scrub your scalp and really get the dead hair, the dead skin off, it's helpful, because just like we talked about in the acne side effect, when you have the dead skin layers start piling up, all sorts of things happen. Fungus grows, bacteria grows, DHT gets trapped. These are the 3 main causes of hair loss. And people don't realize that things like fungus will actually eat your hair. And people have fungus on their scalp. That's why they make things like ketoconazole or Nizoral shampoo. Those do actually cleanse the scalp of fungus, because that's what that compound is created for. Then they also have the side effect of cleansing the scalp of DHT. So a deep cleaning of the scalp. If you want to feel your scalp cleaner than you've ever felt it before, use baking soda. you're use baking soda and then also something like minty, and all of a sudden your head will feel like it's, you know, in Antarctica, cool and fresh and clean and crisp.
That's why I put methyl salicylate in the hair product. It's that minty.
Yeah, it feels
up.
good. Next is the DHT. So that's where you want. DHT is the male hormone that causes hair growth on the body and hair loss on the scalp. DHT is great. We want DHT, but we don't want it to accumulate in the scalp, because what it does is it squeezes and suffocates the hair follicle. Our hair follicles are very delicate, and when anything gets in that around that hair follicle and squeezes it so it doesn't have any more blood flow, then the hair follicle dies, and the hair actually, before it dies, the hair just gets smaller and smaller because the follicle's smaller, and then the hair dies. So getting rid of the DHT or blocking the DHT in the scalp. Also blood flow. So this is where minoxidil comes in, or anything that we put on the scalp that brings blood into it, because the reason why DHT is causing the hair loss is it's restricting the blood flow. So we get rid of the DHT, but then we want to increase the blood flow. Minoxidil works good for that. Also, the person who had the best hair I've ever seen, I asked him, I said, you have the most fantastic hair. How did you do it? Is it genetic or what? And he goes, let me tell you a little secret. I put my head upside down every morning and I massage my scalp to get the blood flowing. I knew it, because I know about that, but I never met someone who did it like every morning and saw the results. And this guy's hair was so thick. The fourth one is nutrients. So you see these vitamins called hair, skin, and nails. All these. Well, there's certain vitamins that if you become deficient in, you lose hair. One of them is biotin. And Coach Trevor caught me and saved my hair one time because I started getting into drinking egg whites. Egg whites leach biotin out of your body, you become deficient, and you lose your hair. So a lot of people out there don't realize that they have a simple nutrient deficiency. That's not the only nutrient that affects hair. I mean, you can just look up hair vitamins and minerals or something. I think zinc or something like that has something to do with it. But you just want to make sure you're not deficient in any vitamins and minerals, right? And realize that there's certain foods that are anti-nutrients, like certain legumes will leach things from your body. Taking too much charcoal will leach nutrients from your body. And drinking egg whites will leach biotin from your body. So when I drink egg whites, I take a lot of biotin. That's everything I have to say about hair loss and how to prevent it in my experience. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, you could just go over the blood flow, DHT, and the androgens. That's really it when it comes to that. That's the three main pathways of hitting it, and then exfoliating the nutrients. I
would never not do PEDs for the risk of hair loss, because if it ever started happening, you can just stop or switch compounds or address it. That, to me, that's not a good enough reason not to.
And not all steroids cause hair loss.
For more cutting-edge content on the daily, hit the subscribe button and visit enhancedathlete.com.